It's John Beaudin. It's part one of our interview with former Boston guitarist Barry Goudreau. I'm John Beaudin from Rock History Music. Who cannot remember listening to those two first Boston albums in the late 70s? I remember I was a lumberjack and I would be working with my dad. I'd have my hook in my hand, he'd have the chainsaw, and all I could play in my head was More Than a Feeling. Back then, breaking records as being the best-selling debut album by a group of all time. Here's part one of our interview with Barry Goudreau. What was the reaction from your family and friends when that just blew up? That just went crazy. That must have been were you personally overwhelmed by that? I mean, that shot, because you guys were headlining in 6 months or something?
Well, we had been doing demos for years, trying to get signed to a record label for years and years. And, I think a lot of people that knew me kind of thought, well, yeah, he thinks he's going to be a rock star someday. Yeah, right. And I mean, it got to the point where I was kind of thinking that way too. But and when we finally got signed and the record came out, it just took off so quickly. It just took us all by surprise. I mean, we had hoped that we would sell 200,000 records, because if you sold 200,000 records, the record label would let you make another record and you had a chance to have a musical career. And of course, we sold that many in the first couple of weeks. We sold a million copies, I think, in the first month. So, but as soon as it started to take off, things were happening so fast that we didn't have really any time to think about it, because they had already booked us dates. Our first shows were in the Midwest playing clubs. And we didn't have any equipment together. We didn't have any crew members. We were just struggling to pull it all together. And of course, the fact that the band had never really performed in public before. So there was a tremendous amount of pressure to pull the thing off. And that kept on because, we did those initial dates in the Midwest. And then we ended up going on a national tour opening for Black Sabbath. And then within 6 months of the record coming out, we were headlining in arenas. So, trying to adjust to all those different labels and bring in the people and the resources you needed to pull it off, it was just, there wasn't really a lot of time to think about how well things were going. We just were, running as fast as we could, trying to keep up,
With the new music, I heard you've got some new music coming out. Let's start with that. It's released on the 19th, right?
Yes, it's Barry Goudreau's Engine Room, and it's called The Road.
So tell me about it. I know that you had touched on the fact that when you started that band, you were doing some blues with that, but what's the band sound like?
Well, our first record was 2017, and with that record, I was kind of looking back to my blues roots. I learned how to play lead guitar, playing along with Chicago blues records like, Paul Butterfield and that sort of thing. So the first record, I was kind of looking back at that. So it was more blues-based. There were some rock songs on there as well, but more towards the blues end of things. This newer record is looking back at my rock roots, the kind of things that motivated me back before Boston took off. And, stuff like early Deep Purple and Joe Walsh. I was a huge Joe Walsh fan. So, it's got that early classic rock sound to it. I think classic rock fans are really going to love this one.
They can get it on your website?
Yes, it'll be available on the 19th. It's barrygoudreausengineroom.com, or you can also go to barrygoudreau.com, and that'll direct you over there.
Oh, Jeff Skunk Baxter. You're friends with Jeff Skunk Baxter. Have you? I know that's an old interview that I heard you say that in, but are you still in contact with him?
Yeah, actually, we have a gig coming up this summer. I'm in a band with him. It's called the American Vinyl All-Star Band. And we do occasional dates, not a whole lot, mostly charity-based. And it's myself and Skunk. It's Mousy Thomas, who played with James Brown, and Leroy Romans, who played with the Wailers. So we play Steely Dan, we play Doobie Brothers, we play James Brown, we play the Wailers. So it's really covers all the bases. And I really enjoy playing with Skunk because he can play anything. He can play anything.
But I heard him, and I didn't realize the scientific part of his brain. I didn't realize that he had this whole other career. And I remember listening to him talk I don't know if it was years ago. I don't know if it was physics or what it was he was talking about. I'm going, the guy's freaking genius.
Yes, he is. In fact, I was watching one of those interviews online the other day. Yeah, he is he is quite a character. And actually, the show we're doing this summer is for the was it the Draper Lab, one of the people that work on all the missiles and all that stuff. And there's some pretty interesting characters there, I'll tell you.
That's right. When you were a kid, when you started playing guitar, what kind of kid were you? Like what were you into? Were you nerdy? Were you cool? Who was that kid?
Cool. I don't know about cool. I started playing very young. I started playing when I was 11, and I was in my first band when I was 13. And by the time I was 15, I had met Sid Passion, who later became the drummer of Boston. And he and I had a band, and we were playing the what they used to call the combat zone here in Boston, which was the adult entertainment area. And we were doing 7 nights a week, 7 sets a night when I was in high school. So during high school, I had a few high school friends, but I was kind of detached from high school. I was really concentrating on the music thing at that point.
We'll have more from Barry coming up in a few days. Remember, he has a brand new album out. There'll be links in the description of this video where you can pick it up. Remember, make sure you comment on our videos, subscribe to our channel, it's important to us, and share them on social media, and buy a Rock History Music t-shirt. It helps support our channel. I'm John Beaudin from Rock History Music.